Are we in the midst of an early summer dramatic rally in the price of silver? We're going to talk about what's going on right now, and the same holds true for gold. Are we having a premature rally? We predicted that it would happen late in the summer, late August, early September. But guys, it looks like it could be in play right now. And we're going to talk about why tomorrow is so critical. And we're going to talk about everything going on in the big news stories right now, which have suddenly become very important for the silver and gold price. Do you believe that we are in the midst of an early summer rally in the silver price and the gold price? And have you ever heard that term gaslighting? Are you being gaslit? I'd always heard that term, right? It became popular over the last 5 years. I never understood it, but I finally am going to be able to explain to you what gaslighting means, what it has to do with the U.S. economy, what it has to do with the price of silver and gold. We'll cover that as well. But guys, first, I got some bad news for you, okay? The biggest news story going right now is Jerome Powell. That's all we're hearing. Today, he'll be testifying again in front of Congress, okay? Let's go out to Yahoo Finance, and things are changing quickly right now. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I had a phone call coming through. Things are changing very quickly in terms of what is happening in the U.S. economy. This is today's headline from Yahoo Finance. Stock market today. U.S. futures hold near records as Jerome Powell buoys rate cut hopes. In this one sentence in this article, basically says it all. In his policy update on Tuesday, Jerome Powell hinted the stage is almost set for lowering interest rates from 2-decade highs, pointing to cooling inflation, number one, and the jobs market. He also cautioned that keeping rates elevated for too long could weaken the economy, giving hope to rate cut hungry investors. Wow. Okay, so think how much this has changed just in the last year, the last 6 months, even the last 6 days. All of a sudden, there's this focus on two big problems facing the Fed. Number one, the job market is collapsing. Number two, inflation is coming down. And if you think the Fed supposedly hates inflation, which, by the way, hint, hint, they don't. They need inflation. They really get freaked out on disinflation or deflation. Okay, the focus is now on Powell's appearance in the House on Wednesday for part two of his semi-annual policy update. Investors will be on the alert for clues to whether bets that two rate reductions are coming this year are well placed. So let's talk about what's really going on with the Fed right now, because what's happening and then what's going to happen tomorrow, this is setting the stage for this big rally that we could have in the silver and gold price, the early summer rally. Okay, so right now, what they're saying, right, is that the job market's slowing down. Suddenly, that's becoming big news. Inflation is coming down. Suddenly, that's big news. Okay, we want to believe Powell. I got a truth bomb for you right here. You want to believe this guy right now, but he is not telling you the truth. The Fed is not your friend. When has the Fed ever told us the truth? I know when I look at him, here, let's get him out. When we look at him, he looks like a trustworthy, believable guy, doesn't he? I mean, he looks kind of cute, right? Looks like somebody we should trust. He is not your friend. The big bankers have never been your friend, okay? Chase Bank, JP Morgan Bank, Goldman Sachs, any of the big banks have never been your friend. The Federal Reserve has never. Wait until you see a chart I'm going to show you later that shows the loss in buying power of the dollar since 1971 alone. The big central banks have never been your friend. Powell knows that the economy is in big, big trouble, okay? He's not going to say that. He's not going to be honest, guys. He's never been honest. It's not his job to be honest. It's not his job to look out for you and me. It's his job to protect the interest of the most powerful and wealthy elites in the United States and quite possibly around the world as well, okay? But right now, Oh, I debate whether I should use this and that. The best analogy I can come up with for what's going on with Jerome Powell right now. You ever been at the zoo or the amusement park or the baseball game, whatever, and there's a little 4-year-old boy who has to go wee-wee, but he's too excited. He's at the zoo. He doesn't want to move away. So he's like holding on to himself, dancing around, and you're like, come on, kid, just go to the bathroom, right? That's maybe I shouldn't have used that analogy, but that's what Powell is at right now. He's like that little kid that knows he's got to do something, but doesn't want to do it, and is so distracted and everything else. That's what's happening right now, okay? He knows he's going to be making some big moves soon. And they're going to call it all different types. They're not going to call it QE, right? QE1, QE, quantitative easing. But he knows big, massive news are big moves is coming. Whatever it does, it will dilute the value of the dollar. It will continue, okay, to benefit the wealthy because the stock market will likely go up. Asset values will it'll also benefit you and me as silver and gold investors. It will screw over. There's no other way to say it. It will put the screws to the working man and woman in the United States, to the middle class, to the savers, to the people who are just trying to get by, right? That's what'll happen, okay? And you have to go back. You have to go back. These bankers, I'm going to repeat, are not your friend. The big bankers are not looking out for you. You can go back, and I won't go deep into it because we talk about it about every other week, it seems like, and it's been on the forefront lately, but I know you guys love to hear about this. You can go back to the times of the book. There was the book, The Wizard of Oz, before the movie came out. Read about the book, The Wizard of Oz. It's all about the big bankers putting the screws to the average American. Back then, it was essentially farmers in the Western United States. And you should read the stuff. And they were British bankers back then, as far as I understand it, because back then the British were still ruling the world. This is pre-World War I, pre-World War II. They were putting the screws to the average American farmer out in the West. There was even something that said these bankers said we could wind up owning all the land west of the Mississippi. I mean, it is crazy. So don't think that these big central bankers, these big bankers are at all looking out for you. And number two, don't believe that they're telling the truth, right? Are you being gaslighted? Gaslit. I don't know the right term. We're going to talk about that later because we learned what gaslit mean. I want to say this as well. I heard, I don't know if it was Gerald Celente or one of these really smart, insightful people say something. And I've heard a couple people say this, and I think it's true. Like 90% of Americans are really concerned whether they're red or blue, right? Democrat or Republican and all that stuff. And I want to throw out there that what I wish Americans would really be concerned about is green, right? The dollar. Because I think a lot of people are angry and don't understand what's going on. And at the base of what's going on is that the monetary system, the financial system in this country has worked to disadvantage so many average Americans, okay? At some point, here's what I want to say on that, though. At some point, 90% of the people will wake up and realize that it's the dollar, it's the financial system. And at that point, guys, it could be very, very lucrative for those of us who are storing part or all or some portion of our wealth in what? Silver and gold, okay? Okay, tomorrow. So all this is happening right now. Jerome Powell, everybody's focused on Powell. The gold and silver market are doing well. We're going to talk about tomorrow, which is the biggest. Do you realize tomorrow's the biggest news day, quite possibly now in the history of the universe for silver and gold? Hey, we keep getting bigger and bigger news days, but this is big. We are right on the pivot point when it comes to monetary policy in this country. And that could create a huge tailwind for the silver and gold price. Let's quickly go out and take your blood pressure medicine, basement dwellers. Let's go out to the Pimbex website here and get an update on the silver and gold price. So this was from yesterday's live stream. We were at $30.79. I'm going to press the magic Pimbex button and see where we are right now. Whoa, 31.11. Awesome. Wow, up 28 cents. Silver, $31.11. Gold up $20 an ounce, $2,384 per ounce. While we're here, as you can see, it is spelled Pimbex, Pimbex.com. If you're going to buy silver, if you're going to buy gold, and you're going to buy it online, please shop around, but include Pimbex in your shopping experience. And if you like low prices, if you like getting more metal for your money, I believe that's what you'll find if you give Pimbex a shot next time that you're, thank you, Susie, next time you're shopping for silver, gold, or platinum group metals online. It's where I buy my metal. They always have more than adequate selection for what I'm looking for. They always have great customer service. The packages come wrapped up nicely. Free shipping on orders at $299 and above. And what I like best is when my package shows up, I know that I got the best price. I know that with the money I saved by shopping at Pimbex, I can buy myself a couple bonus ounces of silver or gold. All right, guys, let's ring we got 100 thumbs up. Hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the basement. We got 400 people already, man. It's a party. What is today? Wednesday? Wednesday. I'm going to ring the pocket pinger here. With Big Tim the Silver Shark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 rings of the silver round for the 100 thumbs up. Thank you, guys. Tomorrow is the biggest. Do you understand how big this inflation number is tomorrow? I will come on here and say I was wrong. I will eat crow. Okay. And I very well could be wrong, but I got a strong inclination that tomorrow could be a big day in the markets, a big market moving day. I think, and I've predicted this all week, that we're going to get a low inflation print tomorrow. Okay. And that will cement. Do you see how they're kind of putting everything together? You wanted to understand how they do it, right? With the mainstream media now and everything, they're totally setting up for the fact that the Fed is going to need to cut rates. Suddenly, right? Like 8 weeks ago, you heard people saying the Fed may never cut rates. The Fed may never cut rates. And I've said all along, it's all a bunch of noise in the long-term picture. But short term, tomorrow will be this massive news day. My prediction, and I'm very confident on this. I'm also very confident that I could be wrong, but that we're going to have a low inflation print. And that just sets up perfectly, right? With all we're hearing now about how the job market's slowing down. Okay. And that will be rocket fuel, right, for the rest of this summer. That's why I am saying that we could be set up right now for this early rally in the silver and gold price. And, if we consider something that I think is very important, a very important component of what we need to look at as we kind of try to piece all of this together, is this critical fact that because everything is so screwed up right now, changes are occurring at a much faster pace, right? Big news events, big world events are happening at a much faster pace. So be prepared for tomorrow. You heard it here first. Like I said, right? We'll see what happens, guys. But I am preparing for a big market day tomorrow. I think that very likely we could have yet another big move in the silver and gold price. Although even they seem to be coming early. I mean, heck, we just looked. Gold was up $20 per ounce. Now, let's go out. Let's just change gears here for a second. And does it make sense with everything going on? What is happening? Is that the right article? Yes. Our friends at the Silver Academy. I just wanted to point this out. I found it interesting. Two sides to the gold and silver coin. NATO. Hold on a second here. I'm getting my phone's blowing up. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Are you guys still there? Yep, you're still there. Okay. And okay, two sides of the gold and silver coin. NATO, the hater of gold, yet loves it enough to steal it against the rest of the world. So it's NATO, it's the United States against the rest of the world. I thought this was a great little list just of some of the central banks that are continuing to buy gold. Serbia, gold reserves at the Central Bank of Serbia increased by 5 tons last week. The Czech National Bank. Czech National Bank now shows gold reserves rose by nearly 2 tons in May. Central Bank of Uzbekistan, okay, just published data showing that their gold reserves rose by 9 tons. The PBOC, the People's Bank of China, as reported over the weekend, okay, 2,264 tons, but 2 months of not buying, okay? Well, that's because their people are buying it all up. Okay, the Reserve Bank of India. We got some really interesting news about India that we're going to talk about later with Russia. But India's gold purchases in June were the highest in 2 years. The National Bank of Poland, right? A 4-ton increase in its gold reserves in June. And the Central Bank of Jordan added 3 tons. Okay, I mean, it's just unbelievable what's going on. Now, why are all these central banks? And now we're going to look at a chart, guys, that is going to knock your socks off. So hold on to your socks. I don't have. This is going to. I don't even have socks on. Okay, this is crazy when you think about why these central banks are buying all this gold, and then maybe this is why. Let's just get right back to it here. Maybe this is why. See if I can zip down. This talks about how NATO hates gold, but whenever they invade countries and take them over, these guys invaded a few countries. They always take the gold. Here we go. The petrodollar, you know that story. This, though, I thought was absolutely incredible. Thanks to our friend Big John Little over at the Silver and Industry Substack, the U.S. dollar purchasing power and currency in circulation. So look down here on the left, 1971. There's the dollar, right? Starts at 100. That's where they start. Look how since 1971, isn't that a great visual? The purchasing power of the dollar is now what? Maybe 20% of what it was, maybe 15%, who knows, right? But the red line is the currency in circulation. Look how they just like completely are opposite of each other. 1971, that's in billions, okay, it's gone from what, 200 billion up to 1.6 trillion, while the value of the dollar has just gone down, down, down. It says from January 1971 until June of 2018, U.S. money supply increased 33 times. This was accompanied by an 80, okay, so that was through 2000. God, that doesn't even go, this is an old chart. I apologize. Let me tell you something. If we extended this out 6 years to 2024, it would be even crazier. Nonetheless, the money supply increased by 32 times. This was accompanied by an 84% drop in purchasing power of the dollar. Okay, that was before C19. That was before another 40% of the US dollars ever created were created. All of this, and we talk about Jerome Powell being out there. You don't trust Jerome Powell. We don't trust Jerome Powell. The bankers are not your friends. Okay, unless you are part of the upper half of 1% of the United States and you have billions of dollars or hundreds or tens of millions of dollars. Okay, the central bankers are not your friends. That's just, I mean, it's a fact that's inconvenient. We may not like it, but all of this is critical. This is critical. Think about what we're talking about here. Think about what's going on with Jerome Powell. Right? Remember, he's the nervous little boy at the zoo who's got to go pee-pee, but doesn't want to take the time to go to the bathroom. So he's dancing around holding himself right now, but he knows big things are coming, okay? All of this, I won't use that analogy again, I promise, Basin Dwellers, but all of this is occurring underneath, behind this backdrop. Hold on to your socks, right? It's our daily trip out to the U.S. debt clock. All of this is happening with this going on. Okay, it is an untenable situation. Jerome Powell is not going to tell what he testifies to. He's not telling the truth. They've never told the truth. Again, go back to the Wizard of Oz over 140 years ago, right? The bankers have always been up to these shenanigans, right? It doesn't benefit the average person. Silver and gold do benefit the average person. We just saw the world central banks buying gold hand over fist, right? Why are they doing that? Why? When's the last? Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you heard about a central bank selling gold? It's been a long time, hasn't it, Buttercup? And by the way, thank you for being here. Please give this a thumbs up. I forgot to beg you for that. If you want to do something nice, give this video, please, a thumbs up. You can always subscribe to the channel. And thank you to everyone for your support here in the basement, the super chats, all that great stuff. Okay. The fact is this: the people on Wall Street, okay, I was talking to some of my contacts. The people on Wall Street, the people in the financial services industry, they're salespeople. They don't even know what's going on with the BRICS countries, and there's something big going on, okay? People on Wall Street have no clue about the national debt. They're I think Peter Grand just calls it the don't worry, be happy crowd, right? Like, oh, stocks always go up, everything always goes up, everything always works out, right? And you know what? We got to give them some credit because lately it has, but they don't realize the danger that we're in. Okay, these people, they don't know about the BRICS, they don't know about the national debt. Okay, and they especially have no clue about silver or gold. Go ask any financial advisor what they think about. You know what they say? They act like, oh, it's. I was talking to a very smart guy. He has a PhD degree in my neighborhood back on the 4th of July. And I asked him what he thought about silver and gold, and he acted like I was crazy, you know? And I'm like, I mean, look at this data we just got recently. What's the safest investment? What have you been brainwashed? And we're going to talk about gaslighting. You may have been gaslighted. I hope I'm not gaslighting you. But what's the safest investment in the world? Government bonds, right? Guess what? Gold has beat government bonds now for the last 50 years. We're in a new era, guys. We're in a new territory. We're going to talk about BRICS here for a second because, like I said, and then I've got some great comments from you guys. 2 comments I want to read from basement dwellers that I think were outstanding and offer you an opportunity to learn a thing or two. Let's go out, though. This is what's going on with BRICS. Did you see this? And I got another question off subject because this came up on CNN. We're on CNN's website. We're going to talk about Russia and India. Okay, but what the heck are these? $270 smart sunglasses from Amazon. I'm like, Carrera smart sunglasses are smart glasses. Anyway, let's I got off track. Hold on. So this is sanctions on Russian oil brought Putin and Modi closer. Now they're in a nuclear embrace. So this picture created a lot of uproar. See that right there? That guy is Modi. He's the president, whatever they call him, top dog in the country of India. Oh, I got to ring the cowbell, Susie says. Thank you. That's for 200 thumbs up. Thank you guys for all the thumbs up. Thank you to all 500. I mean, we are a growing community, but this picture right here, this is the top guy at India. 1.4 billion people, one of the fastest growing technology or economies in the world. The back of this head, that's the back of Vladimir Putin's head. Yes, you see that right. This picture caused a big major uproar. They are hugging each other. This was just the other day. If BRICS aren't growing in power, if the Russians were, think about everywhere we get told. I mean, this is how we get, comes back to this gaslighting. Let me say this. And look, I'm a patriotic, where is it? Here it is. Patriotic American, right there, right by the Pimbex box. Patriotic American. But we've been told that Putin is bad. Everybody hates Putin. And remember back 2 years ago, Putin was dying. Putin was crazy. Remember the pictures they would show of him sitting at a table by himself, and he was paranoid and crazy, and he was sick for a while, right? And they said the same thing about the North Korean leader. They thought he died. He was so sick. They said, do they think we're dumb? I mean, come on, just tell us the truth. Sorry, I get so upset. Putin, I mean, where's he been in the last month? He went to China, right? Or I met with the China. He went to Vietnam. They signed a big agreement with Vietnam. I thought everybody hated him. He went to North Korea, right, and signed a big agreement with North Korea. And now we have Putin getting a visit from the president of this, right? This The president of India, right? The BRICS, right? The optics of a Vladimir Putin personally driving Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, everybody calls him Modi, around in a mini electric car at his residence. So show just how chummy the two leaders have become. Modi's controversial visit to Moscow, which coincided with Russia raining missiles down on a children's hospital in Ukraine. I'm just going to tell you the fact is that the Russians claim that those were actually Ukrainian defense, whatever. The guy from Russia said if it would have been one of our missiles, the whole hospital would have been blown up. But anyway, horrible tragedy. Anytime children are hurt or killed, I don't like war. You don't like war. We'll leave it at that. Is a sign that the West sanctions and attempts to isolate Putin over his war are having limited effect. Well, at least CNN is telling us that. Guys, the world is changing at a pace like we have never seen before. Okay? We talked about this a year and a half ago. Those of you senior basement dwellers have been around for a while, right? Right? When Putin and President Xi of China were together and they were embracing each other as they left, and they said the world is changing right now like never before. And we, meaning Russia and China, are at the forefront. Again, guys, I love my country. I love what Thomas Jefferson and Andrew Jackson and Hamilton and Washington and those guys stood for, right? But we got to be real here, baby, right? Things aren't looking so dandy for the United States right now. It's just a crazy situation. We're going to get to gaslighting. Are you being gaslighted? Have you heard that term? I don't know. Were you anything like me? I would hear gaslighting, and I'm like, I don't understand what gaslighting means. We're going to get to that, but let's read a couple really great comments that we got from Ron's basement dwellers, because you guys are important. I'm going to have to expand this, and here we go. Okay. We'll start with Rude Awakening. He's been around for a while. He put a comment on one of the recent videos about facts. Facts, not an opinion. Physical silver, this is for us silver lovers, is going into its 5th year of a global deficit. Silver solar farms are being developed and being put online as we speak. A 33,000 acre farm just turned on last week. China's also planning 191 more just like it. Remember, guys, this is critical. They're not solar farms. They're silver solar farms, because each one of those panels has at least 2/3 of an ounce of silver. And some people say even more. Fact number 2, not opinion. India's government advised citizens to hold off gold purchases and replace them with physical silver purchases. Now, I had heard that about China and seen very credible reports that 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, the Chinese government's telling their people, hold off on gold, buy silver. Rude Awakening's telling us that that's also happening in India. Maybe that explains why India imported, 125 million ounces of silver in the first quarter of this year. And we know that represents at least, 15% of the world's mining production. Chinese government stockpiles of silver. Facts, not opinion. Shanghai Exchange posts a $4 per ounce higher physical silver than the manipulated COMEX. Okay, let's go back to this one. This is from Silver Bowl 007. Hi, Ron. When I was in India, okay, this is a man on the ground, I was told that parents explain to their kids and grandkids that they should aim to own their body weight in silver. I've heard that myself many, many times. And 10% of their net wealth in gold. India creates numerous billionaires annually. So anyone saying that all Indians are poor have clearly never been there. Indian people are generally well-educated and very clever entrepreneurs. Keep up the great job, Ron. Well, thank you, Silver Bull. Those that understand what an assimilated example is will always appreciate the job that you do. Yeah, and that was based on this idea that I had. It was just a simple example, and I got attacked. I mean, wow. By a number of people, that if there's 1.4 billion people in India, If you take 70% of 1.4 billion, that comes to 980 million people. Okay, just 7 out of 10 Indian people were to buy 1 ounce of silver, it would basically wipe out the year's supply provided by all the mining, and pretty close to the recycling activity as well. So thank you guys for those. Let's talk about gaslighting. Have you been gaslit? Have you heard this term, gaslighting? Maybe you know, but maybe you don't. But I'm going to tell you, I just learned it. And I want to share with you what it means. And again, it comes from our good friend, Mr. Big John Little, over at the Silver Academy, the Silver Industry Substack. This says the economy has never been stronger. And there's gaslighting right there. Let me make sure I'm still paranoid. There we go. All right. So now this is what gaslighting is. Okay. The term gaslighting originates in the 1938 British play Gaslight by Patrick Hamilton, which was later adapted to 2 films. The British version of in 1940 and a more well-known American version. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So it's from a movie. One of his tactics. Okay, well, here we go. Titled Gaslight. In the story, a husband manipulates his wife. Imagine that. Into questioning her own sanity as part of a scheme to steal from her. One of his tactics involves dimming the gas-powered lights in their home. So back in the day, people had gas-powered lights in their home. I know that was the fact here in St. Louis. So this guy would dim them very, very subtly, very slowly, while insisting to his wife that the lighting hadn't changed, making her doubt her own perceptions. The plot of the play and films depicts an elaborate form of psychological manipulation where the husband systematically undermines his wife's confidence in her ability to perceive reality accurately. This portrayal gives rise to the term gaslighting as we use it today. So it's a situation where people are manipulated, but very subtly, very slowly. But what they're experiencing, if you're being gaslighted, what you're experiencing doesn't reconcile with what you're perceiving to be reality. So I think that today gaslighting is defined more broadly as a form of psychological manipulation in which a person or group causes someone to question their own sanity, memories, or perception of reality. It's now a recognized form of emotional abuse and can occur in various contexts, including personal relationships, workplaces, and even in politics and media. So then here's the example. The White House press secretary, who I'm just not fond of this person, okay? It's okay. I don't have to like everybody. Maybe you like her. That's great. But anyway, Karine Jean-Pierre was ripped by critics after she claimed on Thursday that the U.S. is stronger economically than we have been in history. So that's the gaslighting that's going on right now. Are we experiencing it? We're being told that everything's great, right? Is this a gaslight? Are you ready to see the queen of gaslighting? Hold on. There she is. Here she is, right? Oh, remember, right? Everything's great. The economy's strong. Everything's wonderful, right? Is she a gaslighter? Is he a gaslighter? Right? Oh, yeah, everything's great. The economy's strong. What are you complaining about, people? Right? Yeah, no. It's not strong. Things aren't good, right? Remember, those 2 people I just showed you, they are not on your side. Unless you're part of the 1%, in which case you're probably watching this at the country club. But if you're in your basement, like me, or your family room, or your trailer, or wherever you're watching from, and by the way, I really appreciate you being here. It is a big deal that you give me your time, that you decide to dive into the deep end, to look at things for what they really are. Thank you for being here, right? I mean, isn't it cool? Right? That's one thing we can be very grateful for with this modern form of technology. We can have groups like this where we can come together. I hope you feel like you found yourself a little home away from home, because we love to talk about silver and gold, and especially during the summertime, we like to dive into the deep end of the pool, right? Play 3D chess. You know, I was talking to Susie this morning, and we're going to get back to gaslighting, my wife, Susie, and she got mad at me we had a little problem because I was like rushing to get down here. I do put a lot of work into putting these live streams together, a lot of effort, and I can get a little stressed, especially right before I go live. And she was watching the Today Show and she like paused it. She said, they're going to talk about Jerome Powell. Do you want to watch the part about Jerome Powell? I'm like, no. I said, I know what's going on with Jerome Powell. I said, the Today Show is like Sesame Street for economics. And she did not. And I understand, right? I didn't mean that like to her, but I'm like, it's very basic. And that's the gaslighting, right? That's what's going on. We're being told these things over and over. But when we live our everyday lives and what we experience out there, it's a different story altogether. So that's what I hope that clears it up for you, what gaslighting, because it's a term that we're starting to hear more and more frequently. And on that note, right? If everything is so great, I mean, this came from our friends at CNN, right? Americans are suddenly finding it hard to land a job. And again, this is feeding in with this narrative that's going to be fed into even more tomorrow when we get a low inflation number, that the Fed needs to take action. And isn't it interesting that it's all like timing wise, perfectly convenient with the fact that we have a major election coming up in 4 months right now? Right. Almost just 4 months. Wow. Sooner than I thought. Job seekers were calling the shots, blah, blah, blah. You know, that whole story. Many employers couldn't even require that workers return to the office, blah, blah, blah. But the tide is starting to turn. Suddenly, the red hot labor market is feeling closer to lukewarm for job seekers. The unemployment rate rose, blah, 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 right? We know that. We went from, how is the job market defying gravity? Listen to this quote. We went from, how is the job market defying gravity, to, let's hope it doesn't hit the ground any faster. That's from Luke Perdue, policy director at the Aspen Institute's Economic Strategy Group. He told that to CNN. Pay increases are leveling off, all right? Right? Because, you know, those employers, they won't give raises unless they have to. People are staying unemployed for longer. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry about that. People are staying unemployed for longer. Some industries are even laying off more workers than they're hiring. How do they expect us? How do they expect us to believe people are getting laid off? I know a couple people personally that work for big name brand companies. One of them starts with the letter A and puts a lot of brown boxes at your front door, that got laid off lately. Okay. People are getting laid off everywhere. Go to your local restaurants at 7:00 on a weeknight, on a Thursday or a Wednesday. Okay. Things are absolutely slowing down very, very quickly, very precipitously here in the United States and in the U.S. economy. Man, are we on the verge of a major early summer rally in silver and gold? I mean, it is sure feeling like we are set up for it. I can't believe, do you believe? Because I can't believe, I mean, we are, what's the word I'm looking for? It's in play. Man, I've been looking for that. It's in play right now. Okay. It could wind up, right? We could still look, 6 weeks from now, we could be talking about $2,100 gold. We could talking about $2,200. Hopefully nothing lower than that. We could still be talking about $27 silver. But right now, if we take stock of what's going on right now, the summer rally in gold and silver is in play. And guys, it's so critical that we remember, number one, it's okay. We deserve it. We could have $3,000 gold. We could have $44 silver. And it could happen a lot quicker than a lot of us, I think, are willing to believe that it could happen. Right? Now, again, the inverse could happen. Don't make any financial decisions based on anything I'm saying here. But the big, does it make sense to you? Do you agree with me on this? Right? Maybe you don't. Send me an email. Send me a text, whatever. Do you agree, right, that because of the gross manipulation, the gross perversion that's occurred within our monetary and fiscal system, we're running like a $2 trillion deficit in this country? Think about that for a second. Are you being gaslit? Hold on. I'm going to do it mega fast, right? Remember, everything's fine. Remember. Oh, sorry. Everything's fine. Okay. If everything's so great, Janet and Jerome, then we basement dwellers have a question to pose to you. If everything's so great, why does our government have to run a $2 trillion deficit? Why does our government have to run a $35 trillion, it'll be there in a couple of weeks, $35 trillion debt level, right? The highest ever. The only other time we had this high of a debt to GDP is when we just finished fighting the biggest war in the history of the planet, and it just emerged from the biggest depression in the history of the planet. But you're going to tell us everything's fine, right? That's why things can happen quicker. That's why potentially, yeah, we could see an early summer rally in the gold price, right? Who knows? 28, 2,600. Who knows where it could go here, right? $44 silver. It's a real reality, okay? And it could happen. Let's run out. We do this every time. It's a basement dweller show. Let's say thank you, First Mining Gold, for sponsoring Ron's Basement. You can learn more about them at firstmininggold.com, and Fortuna Mining, you can learn more about them at fortunamining.com. But let's go out to the Pimbex website. We do this. Okay, we're going to do our update. Let's see in the last 20 minutes how, but who knows, guys, right? Silver could be red. I hope not. Let's see. It is. Oh my God, that's what we deal with. I'm not laughing. I'm not happy, but that's remember the volatility in the silver price that we're seeing, big moves, 50 cents up, 50 cents down, $1 up, $1 down. That is an indicative of big moves to come in the future. So hang in there. Thank you for being part of the basement. Thank you to the moderators. We've got Annie Oakley, Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, Big Tim, the Silvershire. But thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Okay. And we will see you again soon. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to those around you the best you can. You